Warn Everyone is directed by John Michael McDonagh, and I loved Calvary from him.
Yeah, it was great.
I think that was a really good film. I haven't seen The Guard yet.
I watched it last week.
Oh, what do you think?
It's okay. I think it's Brendan Gleeson makes it. He's very funny. I thought there's a lack of chemistry between him and Don Cheadle, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's my problem.
Now, I think before I start this, I need to preface this with an interview that he had with The Independent last week, saying that essentially that now social media is around, PC culture has become extremely strong.
Okay.
So I think that sort of prefaces it with the fact that this film is, but essentially in the film,
that makes it very interesting. Actually,
two corrupt cops. One is played by Michael Peña, and the other by Alexander Skarsgård, who was obviously Tarzan.
Yeah,
earlier
but we don't
in the year,
talk about that.
We don't talk about that anymore. And they essentially just blackmail every sort of even slight scumbag that they think deserves it, and take anything they want essentially, because they are the law. They are the cops.
Yeah.
As we saw in the trailer when they're doing drugs in the toilet, and it's like, oh god, the cops are coming. Oh wait, we are the cops.
We are the cops.
We are the cops. And they run into someone who is just a bit slightly more powerful than they are in Theo James, and everything sort of slowly decides to go to crap, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have to sort of fight back against this person who's a lot more powerful than they are, even though they are the law.
Yeah.
So,
it's the odd one.
Yeah, the fact that this film, it does have quite a fair bit of racial stereotypes in this.
The film has been criticised mostly for that reason alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the fact that in this film that it has a lot of comedy relying on that, but I think it's a very, very off-kilter film.
Well, can we tick them off? Can we tick off just how many things it offends?
Yeah.
There's racist humour, there's homophobic humour, there's misogynistic humour, it's sexist. You get the picture. It kind of nails fat people as well. It kind of ticks all the boxes. If you have something that can be offended, you will be offended. If you are easily offended, that's what the film does. It ticks off every single box. You're all covering all bases.
Yeah,
yes.
Fair enough. But it's just I think it's you're gonna have something like that. I mean, I think the fact that he does do that, I mean, you can criticise if you want, but I think
the God's very similar and just being very offensive.
Fair enough. Yeah, but I think the fact that it's a lot of off-kilter comedy, and it's a very off-kilter film. I think it has a lot of a very weird feeling to it. I think for all of the weird, it feels all very, very different. And
it feels like a McDonagh film.
Yeah, it feels like a McDonagh film.
Obviously, his brother made In Bruges and Seven Psychopaths. They've got that similar brand of off-kilter, dark black comedy.
Dark black comedy. And I think that the two leads work really well. I think Peña and Skarsgård are really, really well mismatched couple. I think Peña's really brash and over the top and really self-centered. Obviously, Alexander Skarsgård just does not give a single what.
I think Peña's more restrained than Skarsgård. Unhinged.
More restrained.
He's
and Skarsgård is completely off the hook, and he does what he wants, smokes what he wants, he destroys everything essentially. You're not going to mess with a 6'7" massive.
No.
Yeah, you're not going to mess with a massive Scandinavian like him. And the fact that they work so well together, and I think that's what sold the film for me, because they have got a real chemistry together, and it makes the funny situations all that funny. And just when they're rocking up with the place, smashing their car into something like they don't give a crap, like they own the place, that's when the film's at its best moments, when they're just totally ruining everything. I think Theo James has got that really nice sinister edge to him, like a sort of it felt a lot like a Nice Guys at times, like less a film than a Nice Guys, but I had a feeling of that because it had these two mismatched leads who make a really good combo together and some real wit to it. And I think the story was really earnest at times. I think Tessa Thompson's, she had a really good turn in this film, and I think it has a real heart to it at times. And I think, especially in Alexander Skarsgård's character, you really start to feel for them as the film reaches its climax. But I don't think it's a great film.
No,
I think there's a lot there. I think there are lots of random stuff in there that doesn't need to be in there, or could have been rewritten or redone or reimagined.
Absolutely.
But I think as it stands, it does have funny moments. It does have a real heart to it at times, and I think it's a really entertaining watch when it wants to be at most.
I didn't dislike it, but I have got more criticisms than positive things to say about it. Because there's a lot that I didn't like. But
it's very scattershot.
That's one of the words I got here. The tone is scattershot. I think it switches from comedy to drama, especially towards the end. There's a big shift where it's kind of like, okay, I suppose it's brave, but it's also a bit naive and misjudged. First of all, you said about Theo James. I think he's pretty bland. I think to cast him was a bad choice, really, because he's that sort of very stereotypical British villain. who is only kind of scary because of his henchmen. He's got that. He's sort of strengthened numbers, crowd to back him up. I didn't find him particularly interesting. The plot, I think, is a mess. There's not really much of a coherent plot there at all. I mean, I get that's the vibe they're going for. I get it. And I know you said about Shane Black, Nice Guys. It's very Shane Black.
Yeah.
But as you say as well, it's very inferior to the Nice Guys, which was a far better film. As the offence goes, I wasn't really offended because it didn't really do anything that would offend me.
We are white men.
Yeah, and that's one area that the film doesn't cover. Us white men are kind of are left alone in that degree. I think it can definitely be considered offensive. I think a lot of it is very close to the bone. It's interesting what you say about the sort of PC brigade, though. I think he is making a point of being anti-PC.
Well, I think his point was that
if
you think too much about that, it can hamstring you. Hamstring your
I sort of understand what you're saying, but some of it does seem very needlessly offensive, where every single sentence will have either a swear word or some kind of slur, because that's what they are, slurs.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of small laughs throughout the film, like lots of sort of like, but never really like a big satisfying like. That was a good. I mean, like when they're driving the car,
that was my
just
favourite
slam it into another car,
lights up a cig and just go and mess some stuff up.
That's where it works.
Yeah.
I think Peña and Skarsgård are a good combination. I think particularly Michael Peña, who I think he's so funny. But even in The Martian, it's not a particularly comedic role, but you just. And Ant-Man as well. Watched that again recently. He's a funny guy. I think there's definitely a lack of chemistry though between them.
Really,
I think individual performances are good and a bit underwritten. I think Michael Peña's is underwritten. I think Skarsgård's kind of more fleshed out, but there's not a lot of solid chemistry between them. And I think because Theo James is so bland, he's kind of the only reason you could possibly root for Peña and Skarsgård, because everything they do is so offensive that it gets to the point where you think, why do we root for these guys? Oh yeah, it's because, of what Theo James' character has done, which makes it bad, and also because he's just you can't root for somebody that boring. And I mean, possibly the vulgarity and stuff is seen as an ironic thing. I've got that written down here. Like it could be a very ironic way of using the vulgarity against itself to kind of satirise mainstream films, but I think it's a bit predictable and it kind of goes nowhere in the end. And I think it wastes its location. I think it could have done more with its setting. It kind of just happens in that area and doesn't really involve itself.
Yeah, it goes for some very odd places, doesn't it? Ends up in Iceland at some point.
That's it. It's a funny little diversion. But it's
I think that's why I liked it so much. I think it's very offbeat.
Crucially, like a disappointing lack of proper zingers. There's a lot of like.
There's no like Ryan Gosling throwing the gun out the window and the Nice Guys.
In terms of dialogue, there's nothing that makes you kind of go, oh snap. It's kind of just like, that's rude. That's offensive. There's nothing that.
None of it feels harsh though. Like none of it feels like a direct attack.
Well, if it was a direct attack, it would be a crime. I mean,
none of it feels like
it's not like a direct address to sort of make a point of offending people.
Yeah.
It is offensive, but it's you're right. It's not a criminal investigation on its hand. That's one, everyone. I will recommend it, but with reservations, as you'll have just heard.
I really enjoyed it. I think it was very offbeat, and I think that's why I liked it so much, because it had a special feeling to it.
And if you're a fan of Glenn Campbell, it's like Glenn Campbell.